Hey everybody, it's Justin the Gamer. I am here with some Victoria 3, and I have got some awesome tips and tricks for you guys that I think are going to help you be successful in this game. I just want a full disclaimer, I don't have like 42 million hours in this game, but I know when I first started playing it, I was struggling a lot, and it just felt like really hard because this game is like a different beast compared to any other like world builders or civilization builders that you probably ever played. And I think that there isn't enough kind of beginner guides, like little beginner guides to help people, kind of ease their way into it. This is by no means like a super in-depth on all these things, but I think that these are things that I really wish I would have known if I would have, picked up this game and tried to play it casually. This game is very, very in-depth and complicated, and there's lots of moving parts to it, but it's really, really fun once you get to learn it. And like I said, full disclaimer, I'm not like the best at this game, but I've been playing it for a little while now, and I've been having a lot of fun. And there are definitely some things I wish I would have known early on. I will give some credit to my stream. When I streamed this game, I got a lot of advice from some of the people watching. Big shout out to you guys, and let's dive right into this. The first thing that I want to talk about is building construction centers. They are really, really helpful for not only making it so you can construct things faster, as you can see here. And if you know when you play the game, you start off as 10 as constructing, and then as you go, as you build more of these, the percentage goes up and you can build more things and things faster. Another benefit to them is they allow the private sector to also buy stuff. Sorry, not buy stuff, build stuff. Yeah, so private constructions. Right now they're building a coal mine, and they can build anything besides like direct government buildings, and they're really, really helpful to because then you don't have to buy it and go through and privatize everything. Once they build it, it's instantly privatized, and it saves you resources and all that. So it's really good. Another thing I want to touch on is these construction centers do not only cost money, as you can see right here, there. So government construction, they cost money because they have to buy resources. The cool thing is those resources, like this is the early one starting off. So these resources are pretty easy to come by. Wood and fabric, you can import them, and also you can buy, like, manufacture them or harvest them, whatever you want to call it. And the cool thing about that is the more resources you have in your economy, the lower the price of your economy. Is that correct? Who knows?
Breaking news, everything is bad. It's just as terrible as you imagined, and probably worse. With more, we go to Tom Lee Cruz. Tom Lee.
We're all in danger, Danley.
Jesus Christ, what can we do?
Absolutely nothing.
It was good knowing you, Tom Lee.
I can't say the same.
That was unnecessary. We're just now getting in reports that all the children have exploded. They will be missed.
So the lower the price of them in your overall, your country, the easier and cheaper it will be to construct stuff. There are different levels to this thing, as you see here, which will cost varying amounts, which will also make the construction faster, and also make you be able to construct more things at once. So that's super, super helpful. I would never, my one thing is getting too far ahead, especially if you're struggling to produce stuff. I tend to keep it on the wooden one, the wooden buildings, whatever you want to call it, just because I get worried that if I do upgrade this too fast, I'll be consuming so much resources in my other businesses, and things will not be able to, succeed.
And I'm broke. And I'm broke. And I've made a foolish decision with my money.
Just because of the amount that the government is taking from the resource pool, because you wouldn't really want to import a lot of that stuff if you can make it at home, like wood and fabric. Those are both things that I can mine in Venezuela. So I would rather, have the hometown wood than importing it, which is because it's crazy. Unless, you really need to, but that's a whole other thing. The next thing I want to talk about is privatization. So, as we talked a little bit about at the tip before, when you have the private sector construct buildings, they're instantly privatized. But when you use your little, construction powers, they are not privatized. They are owned by the government. And in that case, I don't think I have anything that's owned by the government in this situation. Really, literally just nothing. Okay, because this trading post. This trading post costs a certain amount of money to run. That is completely coming out of the government's pocket because it is not, in fact, privatized. As you can see, having that building that is owned by the government affects your bureaucracy in a negative way. You want to try to make sure all your buildings are owned by individuals. So that hurts your bureaucracy, and if you have too much of it, it can really, really hurt it, and it's also costing me money. So it's always good to make sure everything's privatized. So there aren't really drawbacks per se about privatized, but if a business isn't making money, then they will dissolve. I've seen that a lot where I try to, the best example would have to be the iron mines. I ended up building 4 iron mines, and I didn't have the proper infrastructure to use all the resources that were being mined, so they didn't use 2 of the mines. So unfortunately, I wasted a bunch of resources on building all these mines just for them to foreclose when they were privatized because I did not have the infrastructure, and it wasted everyone's time and money. It really sucked. As the point being, there are some kinds of like down thing, like negatives. I don't know. I'm just fumbling over my words today. There are some negative things, but the biggest one is bureaucracy, especially with some countries that don't have a surplus of it. And this, like I do in this situation, it can be really hard on your overall gameplay. So privatize everything. Don't build more than you have to. Okay, on to our next tip. The next thing I want to talk about is supply and demand. Every game you're going to play, and well, every playthrough, there's going to be supply and demand. So the most simple one is with lumber or wood. Wood is used for nearly everything in the game. It's very, very important. So in this situation, it would be wood. You need, in order to make tools in the early game, you need wood, and wood is harvested. Then it goes to the tool maker, and the tools, they're needed for almost everything as well. We'll just use iron as the example. And iron in early stages, you need tools. So there's and then also making a demand for the iron, we'll say steel. This is kind of going to be a longer one. Steel, and steel would be, we'll just say, for engines. So the circle is, and I guess engines could be for trains. This could go on forever. There's 100 different examples. Point being, you need, in early game, you need to build a supply and demand kind of, circle, because you're going to want to be producing things that your pops need, because things like wood, your people, they need wood, they need things like fabric. And the cool thing is once you get a big supply and demand system going on, I don't know what you want to call that. There's a word for it, but I can't think of it. Once you get that going, you will have a surplus, or like me, I build a lot of one thing, so I have something that I can reliably sell. That being fabric, and I could, change the price here to make a little extra money off it. Probably would kill the market in my country, but or kill my whatever. Point being, it's making a lot of extra money from doing trading. So what I'm trying to say is you need to build a healthy ecosystem in your country where people are relying on each other and goods have a circle kind of thing. Like you need to make crops so grocery stores have things to sell and people have things to buy. Kind of an easy circle, but basic. Standard of living is pretty dang high. It's not the highest here. I haven't really developed this part of my country all that much. It's kind of just more like a literal iron factory, but yeah, supply and demand is a very, very important aspect of this game. Every single part of the industry has it, from the military to business to the government. Everything needs supplies, and being able to mass produce them and sell them on the world market is a very, very crucial part of this game, and it's something that you need to be aware of. Just building things that have no use, or building tons and tons of one type of thing to sell can sometimes be very beneficial, but also when you're oversaturate the market, the value of it goes down, and maybe you won't be able to make as much money off of those things. There are some things like coal that will always have a big market for, because it is used everywhere, like it's burned in homes and all that. So there are some things like that. But hope you got the gist of how important the supply and demand chain is in this game, and how it can affect your entire gameplay and everything. As talked about before. Okay, on to the next thing. The next thing I want to talk about is education.
Know you upsetting the Frog Lord?
Who's the Frog Lord?
Ain't them schools learn you nothing? The Frog Lord is an amphibious creature with mystical power.
So this is a very important thing for any country. You're going to have, as you progress through the game, you're going to have jobs that require kind of a higher education level in your society. So as you got here, you have all different kinds, like mechanics, laborers, engineers, shopkeepers. So some of these things require a higher level of education, and if you do not have a high level of education or a high level of literacy, they say literacy, I call it education, inside your country, it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder to fill those jobs, making it so you're not able to make as much money. They can't keep as many people. Things like this, there's like the bar for people that they need isn't too high. I think it's mostly laborers. Building is fully employed. I cannot. Where? Yeah, so laborers 6,000. So in this situation, they need a lot of laborers. They're not highly educated, but you still need a lot of them for the job. But let's look into something like this, which is the arms industry. They're gonna need a lot of laborers, but this is a bad example. Look at that.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
Okay, here we go. So we are now in motor industry. So engineers 500, laborers 400. Like they don't have that. The jobs aren't filled, and like they have mechanics and all that. So as you can see, most situations need a lot of laborers, but also for higher, like more integral jobs, I guess you're gonna need more educated people, and that's just one aspect of it. The education also helps with your like ranking and all that. There's a few other things it touches on, but the biggest thing I think of when I see that is like the industry of like buying and selling or whatever. And overall, you need to have smart people in your country. It is very helpful, and you should just do it. I don't know why I'm ragging on, but it's also, I think I need to talk about, is it's at any cost. So as you can see, as you know, by this game, you have all these laws, and what am I doing? So you have all these laws, and when I say at any cost, even if it's just religious schools, even though it like kind of bolsters a different kind of like thing early on, you're gonna need it like really bad. So even if it's meaning sacrificing to private schools or religious schools or before public schools, like I said, just get your people educated, because it's gonna make your game go faster. When people are smarter, they can do better, they can do more jobs, and it'll overall grow your country, Venezuela, as like a lot quicker. So that's just what I'm trying to say. Okay, on our next thing. The next thing I want to talk about is trade policy. So there are quite a few different trade policies. 4 is not quite a few. So isolationism is one of the ones you want to avoid. You want to get it as soon as possible. Free trade is kind of good in some ways. I don't like it as much as mercantilism. I can't say that word. I think that's how you say it. It's a trade policy that makes it so you can control things like, let me just use this as an example. Wow, okay. So it makes it so you can control tariffs more effectively. You can also make more money off. You can make money off tariffs, as you can see.
Based on common sense, based on deficits, based on how we've been treated over the years, and based on raw numbers.
It's not a lot, but you can also kind of control some of the things in your country a little bit better. I'd like to say like things that are coming in and out. So if I, for instance, let's just use chairs. I'm looking at it. So if I want to make sure that less chairs are bought and brought into the country, I could raise the imports. So people are going to be more likely to buy from in my chair factories than they are going to be from external sources. There is the whole kind of like, maybe they'll just pay more or be angry, or they just will go without. It doesn't always work 100%, because people need their chairs. It's good. Things that are like really high necessities, like food, they're gonna buy, but it's just gonna make your pops overall more angry because you're taking more money out of them. But in some senses, I've used it with like I can't remember the name of the substance that I get really annoyed about people buying. I don't know what it is. It's something, I can't remember what it's called, but every time I see it being imported, I'm like, okay, I gotta get rid of that. And there are some things that are like silly that I think are imported.
Everyone has a plumbus in their home.
It also helps like kind of like what you need more of. Like in this case, I need clothes. I don't know how many clothes factories I have. I have 2, and probably the issue is the fact that I am not only not using all my upgrades, but also the fact that I'm not prioritizing just regular clothes, which I am now, which should help a little bit in the marketplace. Kind of iffy on that, but point being, that trade policy makes it so all those things are possible. The other ones, I don't know. I don't really mess with them. I've never been successful trying to do isolationism. I mean, it can build kind of a strong internal economy, kind of not really well, because like the economy is kind of like bolstered up by people buying and selling, and like us buying from other countries and selling to other countries. But I don't know. I don't like free trade. Some people love it, and this one I just don't even bother because it doesn't give me control over what I want as much. So yeah, this is the one that I use the most. I think it's really, really helpful. You probably will find your own groove, but in my experience from being relatively new to the game, it helps me a lot. On to my next thing. The next thing I want to talk about is ports and trading centers. So ports are a big way of how your goods get from your country to the market where you sell them. They're very, very important, and they also give you pretty good bonuses when you build them, as you can see here. They are a big income of money, and when they're being run properly by, you know, private organizations, they run quickly and they kind of sort themselves out, and it's good to have them. It does give you that, okay, brain fart, that plus 5.00 urbanization, which is a really big thing, very, very useful, and it's very, very, you know, good. So the even bigger thing is a big part of where a lot of your money is going to come from is trading centers, which is awesome. I think this might be a DLC. I'm not 100% sure though. It trades all your goods for you, so you don't have to sit there and figure out like trade routes and all that, or trade things. It is that you want to build them pretty much as soon as you can, which is going to be pretty early on if you have the proper trading things, like the trading policies. So it's a big thing, is like, and it's even cooler because you can like see, you can change it for like small scale trading to bulk trading, regular trading, and mass scale trading, which is really good. And the more of them, the higher your trade capacity will be. And as one thing I was saying is a cool thing is you can see your imports and your exports, and you build one in each of your little counties, and they'll, you know, do all of those things, do all the things I just described, and they're very, very helpful. Like in different, you'll be able to see like what different counties are importing and what they need, and see if you need more trading posts. What am I saying? So very, very important. There's definitely more to them, but you'll, as like new players, you guys won't know that. Like you won't. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm rambling. Okay. Point being, make sure you're early-ish. You're doing ports. I wouldn't go crazy with ports. I would definitely make sure there's this one trading center in your country, not in your, in each like province. I don't know why I said don't go crazy with ports. Make sure everyone has ports. Everything has ports, and the more ports you have, the better off you'll be. So yeah. All right. Our next thing. The next thing I want to talk about is kind of 2 in 1, but I only really see it as one. That sounds kind of weird, but let's dive into it. So, money is a really, really big aspect of the game. Gigantic, huge, everything costs money. So, a lot of times in your game, you'll either have a yellow or a red thing up here. So, sorry, not yellow or red. I'm an idiot. You'll either have a white or a red or a green. White means you're making just enough to the point where you're not going into debt, like your trades or whatever, so you're like, you don't have to worry. And red means you're going into debt actively, or you're not making enough in trade or whatever to cover what you're spending. And green means you're positive. So there are two big ways to deal with that. First one, or not really deal with that, but understand like where you're at, is looking at this little tab, guide to it as I did, going to your assets, and understanding this thing, and this is your reserves. It's not really hard to understand. Point being is I have like $2 million that I can like lose or spend before I'm gonna start accumulating large amounts of debt.
I'm gonna have about 5 or 6 brewskis.
5 or 6?
7 or 8. Good call.
Absolutely. You'll black out.
I'm not gonna black out. I'm gonna level with you here. I'm probably gonna black out at work today.
Do not black out at work.
So, and one thing to prevent that is shutting off this little awesome handy dandy button right here. Where is it? Right here. You can pause government spending on construction, which will save you. Let's see how much it saves me. Probably not as, yeah, oh my god, I'm spending a lot on government buildings, or constructing buildings. Point being is that right there is one way. I've been in situations where like I've been like preparing for war and like just buying way more stuff than I should be, hemorrhaging money, or like I think also when I'm like fighting wars, that's because I don't think you're actually spending the money on units until you're at war. That's not, I think that's a thing. I don't know why I said that. Point being, I've been in situations where I've need to pause my construction, which will start saving me a lot of money. There's also like, this is kind of like extra, I guess, I don't know, taxation or taxing specific goods. That can also start making you more of the money that you were losing back. I don't like to do this. I mean, in some cases I do, but mostly I try to avoid it. because it's going to make it harder on your pops, unless it's like luxury goods, which feel free to tax luxury goods because, you know, eat the rich. I don't know. That's not necessarily good advice. I try, like I said, I don't, and some, depending on where I'm at, I try to do as little taxes as possible because I don't want to have to, you know, overtax my people, because that sucks to be them, unless it's luxuries. So yeah, just something I want to touch on, making sure that you're, you know, understanding this, because this can be like, maybe you don't understand the investment pool is a whole different beast. But point being, your reserves is a really big thing to be watching, because also you're adding to it when you have positive, which is really cool. As you can see, current reserves, reserves limited. So yeah, as you can see, you're adding to it slowly with all that money you're getting in profits, like that's what I am right now. And a good way to, you know, save a little bit of money and stop that, because that's happened a lot where I'll be in the red or in the white, and I'll want to start recouping the money that I've lost, or I've been almost like close to being super in debt, and just pausing construction helps a lot. So yeah, okay, on to our next thing. So for my last thing I want to go over, I've kind of touched on a little bit, but I want to really drill it into your head. There are some resources like wood, fabric, coal, and iron that are very important, and getting a system in place for when you first start your game of where you're going to see what resources you have, how you can exploit them, and how you can make sure that you're doing the best for your country is very crucial. And there are parts of the industry like coal that are every playthrough you're going to need to make sure you have a good system of how you're getting it from another country or how you're mining it from yours. You do not want to start your game and like start, I don't know, building up your army and not noticing that you need more iron for weapons, or you need more what's it called? Well, I was gonna say longwood, but that feels inaccurate. What is it called? More hardwood for weapons. Like making sure you're understanding what you need in that moment. Like in this game, like right where I'm at right now, I could probably take a look and see what I need. So I'm probably thinking I need more clothing factories. Like this is just from my imports right here. This is kind of the best way of seeing things. So yeah, clothes, fruit. Yeah, everything's doing pretty good besides like clothes. Maybe meat. Like, so there's this right here is a good way of what pops need. There are some things like a lot of the luxuries are down to near the bottom, so they're not really as needed. They must be being produced pretty well. So like, yeah, but understanding what your country needs and being able to jump on that as soon as possible is a big aspect of this, and can make everything way easier going forward. So I just want to touch on that a little bit, and okay, yeah. I don't know why I'm still rambling all the time. Okay, with that, I think we're done with the video. So I thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you would be kind enough to leave a like and subscribe, that'd be really cool. If there was some information that I said in the video that you either did know, didn't know, thought was wrong, you know, want to correct me, tell me I'm absolute buffoon, I need to play the game for, you know, 1,000 more hours before I ever even think about, you know, making, editing, and then posting a video, throw it in the comments. I'd love to converse with people and talk about stuff. This game's a lot of fun, and if you think there's something that I could have elaborated on a little bit better, throw it in there too, because, you know, there's a very good chance someone will at some point, you know, stumble upon this video, and they'll be like, oh, that's probably incorrect, or that video's outdated. Yeah, it's a beginner's video. I am not like the best at the game. I have a lot of fun playing it, and I think there's a lot of stuff that is really cool and that I have learned over the time of playing the game. And I want to help people that start playing the game that don't know what they're like doing per se, or they're a little intimidated, or, you know, because it's a hard game, and all the videos you see online are super long and explain things really well, but can also be kind of intimidating and long for someone that's new to the game to watch. Yeah, I don't know why I'm explaining this now at the end, but thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you learned something. If you did, throw it in the comments. Yeah, and, you know, and engage. I'm here to listen, and I really appreciate you guys for, if you're still here, thank you. You know, if you're still here, throw a, I don't know, 6, 7 in the chat, in the comment. I don't know, that's cringy. Okay, you know, leave me alone. It's super late. It's like 1 o'clock when I'm recording this, and it's gonna be like forever till I post it, because I gotta go through the editing process and find a bunch of funny clips and, you know, try to like edit out all the crap. But yeah, I'm just rambling on because I'm having a lot of fun. I like this game. I like YouTube. I need to make more videos. Blah 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 blah. If anyone throws a 6-7 in the chat in the comments, I'm gonna be pretty amazed because this is a lot of rambling and most people don't watch till the end. But if you are, you're awesome. And if you watch this long, you're still listening to me ramble on. You might as well you might as well subscribe and throw a 6-8 in the comments. I don't know why I'm talking. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video.